So let's talk about the Rings of Power, shall we? The Rings of Power is, to use a phrase in Italian, garbaggio. Flaming garbaggio. It is al dente garbaggio drizzled in a gentle mist of fly-infused cringe sauce. I have seen crowd-funded fantasy productions with low budgets surpass it, and that begs the question, how? How can a studio with $1 billion to play with possibly drag Tolkien's vision of Middle-earth through the mud this bad? We can ask the same about Disney's approach to Star Wars and other franchises being recast in the streamable format. For many, it seems that the answer to this question lies in another question. Can epic stories be told through TV shows at all? Does the 10 one-hour episodes per season format truly complement the epic genre? Some say no. Nerdwriter is a YouTube creator who recently answered this question with a resounding no. For him, the works of Tolkien are epic masterpieces that cannot be produced through a medium more focused on social interactions and character exploration. I'm referring to TV here. Feel free to check out his video to learn more about his perspective. And now, I have always been a big fan of Nerdwriter, for years actually, and I really admire his work on the poet John Keats, who happens to be my favorite poet in the world. But when it comes to this question, the question of whether streaming platforms can tackle epic stories like those written by Tolkien, I enthusiastically disagree. Not only are TV shows a perfect medium for telling epic stories, they are the best medium to tell epic stories. Look at Homer's Odyssey. The Odyssey, for those who have been living on an island after sacking Troy, is a very long poem written by the ancient Greek poet Homer. And it is the ancestor to the modern epic, tales like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and Dune. It has the call to adventure, the mentor, the journeys to strange lands, and all the Joseph Campbell stuff your Jordan Peterson-loving friend tells you about every darn time you watch anything. But folks in ancient Greece did not simply sit on the couch with their copy of the Odyssey and read it with their favorite Tay-Tay album playing in the background. No, they watched a guy literally sing it to them at parties and festivals. If you calculate how long it would have taken just one of these bards to recite the entire Odyssey, you'd be looking at 12 hours. That's a flight from South Africa to LAX, by the way. So, yeah, ancient Greeks probably did not experience the Odyssey, or the Iliad for that matter, in one sitting. The average Greek citizen knew the whole story, but they experienced it in episodes. I think you can see where I'm going with this. This is why the Odyssey is now divided into 24 digestible sections, and this is exactly why the 10 episodes per season format feels just so satisfying to us today. Even a show like The Rings of Power is embedded in the larger story of Tolkien, just as the Odyssey or the Epic of Gilgamesh or Beowulf was embedded in the grander mythologies of their respective cultures. It is true that TV shows are great at social development and character exploration, but the only reason why they are distinguished for this is because social development and character exploration is cheap and it's something that you can do over the course of a long running time. But studios interested in epic storytelling like Amazon or Disney have more than enough money to spend. It's just that stories they are telling are very, very bad. It has nothing to do with TV being a bad format for epic storytelling. And that brings us to our very final question. Why do studios like Disney and Amazon turn out horrible epic shows from day to the last recorded syllable of recorded time? And why don't their subscriptions come with a complimentary screwdriver to drill through our eyeballs every time they fling another pile of orc poop our way? For me, it feels like these stories do not celebrate anything. Let's look at epic stories that worked. Homer celebrated the destruction of Troy and the emergence of the Greek identity. Lion King celebrated Africa. Beowulf celebrated the unity of Norse and Christian ideas in a world populated by both. Milton's Paradise Lost celebrated God's triumph over evil, and The Mandalorian celebrated Star Wars fandom itself. The Lord of the Rings celebrated the Allies' triumph over evil during World War II. It celebrated the sacrifices of those who fought against evil. And Peter Jackson's version of Lord of the Rings through his films captures these concepts perfectly. Fans wanted a show that celebrated Tolkien, something like those Peter Jackson films. And they got The Rings of Power. The popular saying goes that art is supposed to imitate life. But I'm starting to feel like art is supposed to celebrate life. If you ask me, it is time for shows to start celebrating, but not for The Rings of Power. But that's just my armchair opinion. I want to know what you think. Do you think that there are any shows in the epic genre that does hit the mark? Well, let me know in the comments, and I hope you have an epic dragon slaying day. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe if this is your kind of thing, and have a sensational day. Thank you so much.